to the How to Spark Success podcast. I'm your host, Liz Hamlet, and I'm a success coach and business mentor. I've got a fantastic episode coming up for you today, so enjoy. Hi, and welcome to the How to Spark Success show. This is a podcast where I have conversations with smart and savvy business owners and people doing really cool things around the globe. So my guest today is a LinkedIn expert. She will help you generate leads from social media. She's also the founder of Social Gems. So I would love to welcome the fantastic Jemma Lea Bevan. So how are you, Jemma?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Them from going, wow, and the crowds went wild.
I'll just edit in some crowd noise as well. It's just me here today, unfortunately. So I was really keen to get you on the show because I know you've been doing some amazing things. I watch your social media and LinkedIn videos particularly, and I've been to some of your training. So do you want to sort of introduce what you do, how you got to sort of do what you're doing now?
Yeah, well, basically, I'm ex-business development. So I spent 8 years selling solutions for a variety of different companies, generating them business. My sales career actually started face-to-face at Car and Warehouse while I was at university. So when I moved into the B2B area and I was given a laptop and a phone and told to crack on, essentially, I didn't have a clue how to do it when I wasn't in a position where I was stood in front of that individual and could actually get my personality across. The search engine optimization director at the company I was working for at the time, it was a design and print agency, had mentioned LinkedIn and asked me if I'd actually checked it out. So I went and checked it out and kind of sat there and went, well, why aren't people utilizing this as a sales tool? Because you ring a business and you'll speak to about 15 or 14 different people, all of which will tell you the person you want to speak to is on lunch, or he's not coming in today, or he's decided to go trek into the arse end of Narnia and they don't know when he's going to be back. Whereas on LinkedIn, you've got the director there and then, and you can literally just send a message. So I did quite a lot of research on utilizing LinkedIn as a successful sales tool.
Yep.
But then it was about 8-9 years ago, so there was nothing available. So I just started commenting, liking, engaging, sending messages. And back then you could actually blast out about 150 sales messages and get 60, 70 responses because no one else was doing it. It was kind of classed as out of the box thinking.
Yeah.
Obviously things have changed. The platform's changed. How people interact with each other has changed dramatically over the years. And I've kind of adapted and changed with it. In the last business I was working in, the majority of people were actually signing up as members. We were the British Institute of Recruiters. We were a governing body for the recruitment space. So we helped with like training, guidance, legalities and things like that. But the majority of people were actually signing up with us because of me and wanting me to help them with LinkedIn, which obviously I was doing, but it wasn't part of my job.
Yeah.
So after about 6 months of signing people up and training people on LinkedIn for free just to hit my sales targets, I decided it was probably a good idea to actually set up on my own. Pretty snap decision, I'm not going to lie. I think if I'd have put too much effort into it and thought into it, I'd have probably talked myself out of it.
Yeah.
But at this minute in time, I'm 31. We live in a 2-bedroom terraced house, so our outgoings are quite low. So it was a now or never situation. So I handed in my notice, did a video of me and Charlie just jigging around in the car as we do, telling people that this is what we were doing now. And by the end of that first day, we'd got 4 new clients.
Wow. And I know, part of your training is very much like, I speak to a lot of people that are just using LinkedIn, especially those in corporate roles, just to connect with people that in their own office or people that they've spoken to, they've got very small connections. And I know from your training, you're doing a lot around sort of making use of all the space in terms of sort of the profile, the sort of banner image, to get people to sort of a call to action. So what do you think sort of the sort of key error that people make with LinkedIn?
That the corporateness, actually being too corporate. I think there's still quite a lot of individuals that think you need to have a portrayed professional image in business constantly, and that home life and work life are very, very separate things and should never be mixed, which is not the case. We've got more flexible work now. A lot of people work from home. it's not as cut and dry as that's work, that's home. They're both intertwined. And people buy people and not products. And you need to be showing the person behind the brand in order to get people to actually buy into that. Whereas a lot of people will post about business related topics and nothing else, and then go, oh, well, I'm not getting any engagement on that. We're not getting engagement because it's too corporate. And are you actually getting involved with other people's conversations? Are you treating LinkedIn like a networking event, which is how it should be used? Or are you just going at it from a complete corporate background and thinking, do you know what we need to do to actually get these people to notice is show how intelligent we actually are? There's ways of means in showing people that you're knowledgeable in your field, but you can still have a bit of fun and don't take yourself seriously. And they're the individuals that are doing really well on LinkedIn. The ones that are being stiff and corporate, not so much.
Yeah, and I know you sort of really incorporate that sort of humour. You often sort of do music and, you know, comedy. And I think, you know, that's what makes it eye-catching. But I think what you're also really good at is sort of that engagement piece, because I know that people are commenting on your posts, that you're making sure that you sort of respond. I mean, one of the things that I get asked about LinkedIn is sort of how much time, you know, how much it can be quite difficult to sort of have that level of engagement. How do you manage that?
Some days are easier than others. It just depends on how much engagement we actually get on those posts. I'll be honest, there's days where I can struggle, because obviously we did a post the other week about ironing. Do you still iron or not? That's on over 1,000 comments.
Oh, wow.
I acknowledge every single comment, and obviously we're doing content on a daily basis. Sometimes it can be quite difficult to keep on top of that. But what I tend to do is I kind of dedicate about an hour on a morning to engaging, getting involved and answering people on my posts. And then there is occasions where, because we are working with 22 clients at the moment, where I just get that busy, I don't actually get a chance to check it. So I'll just sit and browse on a night when I'm watching TV.
Yeah. And it's just sort of making use of that time blocking, isn't it? Like making use of sort of stuff or multitasking when it's just, you know, something that doesn't require your full attention.
But to be honest, with LinkedIn, you've got to think when you're actually in that zone and in that space on a night when you're actually more comfortable, the conversations that you're going to have with people are going to be more comfortable. So you're actually going to be getting more of your personality across because you're not overly thinking it. And I think quite a lot of people put too much thought into their LinkedIn and think, oh my God, I can't say that. What if someone doesn't like it? Like, prime example, there's a lady that's messaged me today who wants to have a conversation with me next week about LinkedIn. In that message, she's actually put, I really wanted to say, because we've done a post on TVs in kids' bedrooms and does it make them obese and affect their learning? I don't think it does. I think it's more about monitoring that time.
Yeah.
And how long they're actually spending on that, rather than the location of the TV or the PlayStation or the Xbox. And the lady in question actually said that in her message. But she said, I daren't say that on LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
And that's another barrier that holds people back, because they're worried and scared that other people are not going to value their opinions and are not going to share their views, and they're worried about that backlash. Well, if you're actually doing anything on LinkedIn, there is going to be the odd person who doesn't agree with something that you say, but you still need to put yourself out there. The majority of people that are going to troll or say something negative are very minuscule compared to the amount of people that are supportive. LinkedIn's probably one of the most supportive networking platforms out there. There's far less troll behaviour. I mean, don't get me wrong, you get the odd "this is not Facebook" comment. But from my point of view, I say they're corporate dinosaurs with very simplistic views on how to network and generate new business. And they will eventually change their view or retire.
And what's your views of, you know, a lot of people are saying on LinkedIn, you know, it's like, you know, comparative to dating, you know, you wouldn't propose to someone literally, well, some people might, but certainly most people wouldn't propose to people on the first date, on the first meeting. So what's your view on all those sort of sales messages that literally as soon as you connect? I mean, I get hundreds of these, you know, in terms of when I try and sort of politely respond, but you know, it can be quite aggressive, and people obviously are struggling, businesses are struggling with COVID. But what's your thoughts around that sort of straight off salesy email as soon as you sort of connect on LinkedIn?
And I need to work on my analogies, but it's like going in dry. You need to kind of warm up your audience first. What I tend to say is, obviously, I'm from a sales background. Quite a lot of people are under a hell of a lot of pressure at this minute in time. Don't take it out too harshly on these sales individuals. At the end of the day, they've got a job to do. They're probably under extreme amounts of pressure at their end to get in the sales, or they're just going to lose the business. Sales is that cutthroat. Lose the jobs, not the business, sorry. And it's kind of a forced thing, and I do feel sorry for some of these individuals that are actually sending them. I just wish they learned. It's like, the example that I tend to give is networking events. If you were at a networking event, you wouldn't walk up to someone and go, buy my shit. You'd go, how was your journey down here? Did you get stuck in much traffic? And have you got much to do later on? You start with that small talk. And LinkedIn is just a massive online networking event. And you need to engage with people and talk to people the same way you would face-to-face at a networking event. And that's how it works. Like, I get that people like send the messages straight away, but if they just took a step back, probably sent that message a week or 2 weeks later, when they've actually seen that individual's post, engage with that person, and then they have an actual reason to get in contact. It's a start of a conversation. They'll have far more success and a better return on investment of their time by doing that than just blanketly sending 150 connection requests and then 150 sales messages after.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And, you know, there's some that, you know, you start in the conversation, you know, this is a sort of preempt to sales, but actually it feels more, you know, you're more willing to sort of engage in that discussion and sort of be more polite in terms of sort of the response, or, you know, it's more likely to be successful. So for you, what would you say has been the biggest factor that's helped you to be successful?
I'd say probably, and it's going to sound a bit daft, but my personality. So I'm quite a strong, driven individual, and if I put my mind to anything, I'll achieve anything that I want to achieve.
Yeah.
That and my reputation. So I've been on LinkedIn selling solutions and building up connections and friendships, really, for about 8 years now. So when I actually launched my business, I had a decent following of individuals that actually supported me in what I did, that helped me to get the success I did. I think if we'd have started from scratch and it had been a complete blanket, right, we're going to start utilizing LinkedIn this way, the business that we actually generated would have taken longer to come off. But because we'd already done the legwork and I was already quite well known on social media platforms for being able to engage and generate leads, because quite a lot of the individuals that came to me to help with lead generation were actually leads that became business that worked with me previously from me doing this to them.
Yeah, definitely. And you've sort of mentioned some of your sort of habits around, you know, using the morning, sort of an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening in front of the TV on LinkedIn. But what would you say are your other success habits that have helped you?
I'd probably say with me, it's I know my flaws. So I know I'm quite scatterbrained at times. I'm easily distracted. So what I've done is I structure my day into literally half an hour increments of that this minute in time you need to be doing LinkedIn. Later on, you need to be doing someone's engagement. You've got 2 hours of sales calls later. Even to the point of I will have timers and alarms going off on my phone to remind me to go pick up my kid from school, because I get that absorbed in what I'm doing. I completely forget the whole world around me exists.
I think that's sort of getting into flow, isn't it? Where you just totally lose track of time. You know, you are obviously doing something that you really enjoy. So, but yeah, timers is a good thing. And I think time blocking as well, you know, not having, you know, 3 hours, a big stretch of having to sort of work on something, you know, like being quite efficient. I know you're sort of quite fast in sort of getting through tasks and everything, but, you know, that seems to really help you as well, of not having like a long stretched day of, you know, sales calls or something.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I've done it where I've tried to do content in it on a daily basis, but in between that, I'm trying to do sales calls all day, every day. So the calls will start from like 9 o'clock. In fact, some days they start at 8, and they'll be completely sporadic throughout the day. And then trying to go from that call to actually then going to write, it's a completely different mindset that you need to be in, and it's difficult to switch from the two. So from my point of view, it's just easier to block out, say, 2 hours on a Monday, then another 2 hours on a Tuesday, but at a different time, to ensure that anyone that's wanting to speak to us, if morning's better or afternoon's better, we're still accommodating for those individuals. It just means I've got blocked out times where I can just completely concentrate on the writing, because if I'm not completely concentrating on it, then it's going to be mediocre work, and I never want to give anyone mediocre work.
Yeah, no, definitely. So looking back over sort of all you've achieved, if you could go back and do it all over again, what would you do differently?
I don't think I would. So with me, I went to Cath and Warehouse. It was after I'd finished university. I'm not going to lie, I was tossing it off a little bit. It was easy. A lot of people, you say, oh, you're a top sales girl, and you're only a top sales girl because you've got boobs. And I'd be like, no, it's because instead of walking up to someone and going, can I help you? I go, oh, I like your shoes. Where did you get them from? And started some form of small talk and had conversations with people. I learned a lot from that. And I think if I'd gone straight to business before doing that, I would never have needed to learn how to utilize LinkedIn, because I'd have known how to hammer a phone. Charlie changed my life a lot as well. So by becoming a mum, that kind of gave me the kick up the arse that I needed to sort my life out. I've always been quite driven. I'd always had, from finishing university, that my 5-year plan was to be in business development by the end of that 5 years. I did achieve that. I was heading up sales teams at that point as well. And at that point, I kind of got to where, right, shit, I've done what I needed to do. What do I do now? Yeah. And then planned another 5 years. So there has been jobs that I've done that I wasn't completely happy with. There's occasions where I have been extremely depressed in the roles that I've been doing and not wanted to do them anymore. But I don't think I'd appreciate what I'm doing as much now if I hadn't gone through all that. So I think it's kind of molded me into a better individual because of it all.
Amazing. And I'm sure throughout your career and what you're doing now particularly, you've had a lot of advice, but what would you say has been the best piece of advice that you've received about sort of being successful, about sparking success?
And it's a guy in question is actually a client, and I've known him for quite a while, and he talks to me all the time, and literally the only thing he ever says, and bearing in mind the person in question's got like a £12 million worth. Wow. He owns about 5 or 6 different companies, about 6 or 7 different massive houses, and he always says to me, Jem, as long as you're enjoying what you're doing, it don't matter. Yeah. And it's true. I think, like, I'll work some days till like 11, 12 o'clock at night, and my partner thinks I'm mental. He's like, how would you run yourself into the ground? I'm like, I'm not, I'm happy. And he'll say to me on a few occasions, Jem, you need a hobby. Like, but writing, creativity is kind of a hobby. So it's not like I'm sat at my computer going, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm kind of sat there jotting along, writing, giggling to myself and going, I know they're going to like that. I know they're going to find that funny. I know that's going to get a decent amount of engagement. So it's just genuinely just enjoying what you do and you don't actually feel like you're working.
Yeah. And I know, you inject a lot of humour in, but it's also a lot of sort of just day-to-day observations. You did one that I think that's been particularly popular around your son and sort of getting shot with a Nerf gun and trying to like work and homeschool. And, that's what people really sort of chime with, because, there's lots of sort of how to manage, homeschooling and working at home, but you just sort of inject the humour. So do you find that those are your sort of more popular posts, or is it tips, or what tends to work the best?
The posts on everyone's accounts are not just mine. It's the personal stuff, actually letting people in, giving them insights into you as an individual. The thoughts and feelings that we have around certain things, there's a decent proportion of the population that will think and feel the same way. So it's relatable content. So if it's relatable and you're actually just letting people into your daily struggles, that tends to do better. Like the one with the Nerf guns. We all know that. I mean, there's so many people out there at the moment preaching about how best to work from home and what tips you need to do, when in reality, are they going to work? The kids are so sporadic, and you can't exactly go, do you know what? I know Charlie's going to, at 10:30, start gobbing at me because he wants something to eat. Ones like that, you know exactly that they're going to come. But there's other things that they do that's completely out of the blue. Like, Charlie actually entered a video call from one of my clients last week in his boxers, eating crisps, and went, oh, my mum's on phone, I'll get her to ring you back. There's no way I could have known that was ever going to happen. I was on a Zoom call with another client. You can't plan for things like that because the kids, and I think just showing, do you know what? Yeah, at times it's crap. Yeah, at times you want to pull your hair out and you probably want to shove the kids in the cupboard under the stairs. But we can't, and we just have to kind of manage through it. But by adding that humour, showing that we're all going through the same thing, it's instilling that message of we're all in this together.
Yeah, definitely. So I know when we've spoken recently, you were talking about a few new things that you've got coming up. So do you want to tell the audience about what exciting stuff you've got coming up?
So we're currently launching a new training program. It's a completely separate company. It's called So Simple. I've teamed up with a few individuals who are experts in their fields too. So as we know, the only platform I really utilize and know how to use effectively is LinkedIn. I've teamed up with a guy called James Austin who deals with Facebook, Insta and Twitter. Leanne, she deals with brand awareness and actually building that brand and ensuring that the colours and the thoughts and feeling processes that we have when we see certain colours, and actually incorporating that into the training of people of this is what your brand is, but is it portraying the right image? We've got a videographer who's going to teach people how to utilise video effectively and how to make those videos themselves. And then I'm going to be going through the sales element of it and how to actually close those deals on social media platforms. So we're literally going through absolutely everything from designing that brand to content creation, both video and written, all the way to closing those deals through every single social media platform.
That's amazing. And where can people find out a bit more about that?
So there's information on my LinkedIn. It does have its own website. It's Simple, Social Media Made Simple. And that was going to be going live in July, but we've had a little bit of feedback. We were going to originally do the course over a 12-month period. Obviously, we live in a day and age where people want everything yesterday. So we've kind of changed that a little bit, pushed the start date back to September now, because we're going to get all the content done, ready to go, so that people can actually start and finish it in 3 months.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, I think, if it's a flexible sort of timing, people can do that in their own time. So, I know a number of you that are involved in that, so I'm sure it's going to be really successful. So good luck for that.
I'm really excited, to be fair. It's actually, like, from my point of view, I have got a content writer and a virtual assistant that help me in the day-to-day runnings of Social Gems. But when you set up on your own, it is quite lonely. So those individuals actually helped me massively in terms of my mental health, because there is occasions, especially if you're working at home, where you can quite easily suffer from imposter syndrome and think, oh my God, what am I doing? They helped me massively with that, and they've always supported me. So I figured, considering they're actually good at what they do, why not team up and do something like this that helps everyone? Because there's individuals that can afford to outsource, but there's also small independent organizations that need to learn how to do it themselves. And a lot of them kind of fumble the way through it and get annoyed and frustrated by the whole process. When in actual fact, if they just had someone like us holding their hand through it all, it'd help them massively. Because not only are we giving them, there's going to be video content, there's going to be workbooks to actually work through. There's also going to be a group where it's complete support from every single one of us, answering questions 24/7, where other individuals who are actually on that course are going to be as well, so they can all start to support each other.
Yeah, amazing. I'll make sure that your LinkedIn, so people can connect up with you and see the updates of that as it sort of comes through in September. So not long now.
I need to get on it. I've only done about a third of the work I need to do.
Well, it's good to have a deadline to get the incentive going, definitely.
The deadline was at the end of July, but that was when we were doing it over a 12-month period, so we only had to have so much content done. Now we're condensing it to the 3 months. Don't get me wrong, that the course is still going to be available for the 12 months, so they're still going to have the support from us. We just want to upload all that content quicker, because there'll be people that want to dedicate 1 or 2 hours to it a week. There'll be other individuals that want to dedicate 1 or 2 hours a day, just to get it done quite quickly so they can start generating those leads.
Brilliant. So yeah, I'll make sure all the links are available. So thanks so much for joining me, Gemma. It's been a delight to hear about what you've been doing and some of your success habits. It's been great to have you.
Thank you. It's been lovely being on. I hope it didn't
Brilliant.
waffle too much.
Yeah, exactly. No, really good. And for the listeners here today, join me for the next episode where I'll be joined by MasterChef winner 2010, by his own words, a charcuterie fiend, and co-founder of Tempest Foods. That's Drew Baker. So I'm really looking forward to speaking to him and sharing all his success secrets. And if you've been inspired by what you've heard today or any of my other guests, and you'd like to book a free success call with myself, that's Liz Hamlet, success coach and business mentor, then head to sparksucceed.co.uk. So thanks so much for joining me, Jemma, and have a great day and good launch for your new course.
Thank you. Speak to you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.